Hi, my name is Stephen Hill, and I'm here to talk about colon cancer. Well, one of the main reasons I wanted to go with colon cancer is my grandma passed away of colon cancer. I'm sure probably every single one of you in the class have probably known someone or been affected by someone who's had cancer. Maybe you've possibly a cancer survivor yourself. So, one of the main reasons my grandma probably got cancer is she was working for the government, and at the time radiation wasn't exactly explained well or understood as well. So her entire unit ended up passing away due to cancer. And so I just wanted to get into it from here. So what exactly is cancer? Cancer is mostly defined as uncontrollable abnormal cell growth. It's pretty much a catch-all term that describes the many types of cancers. There can be many reasons why cancer occurs. It could be from environmental or completely from genetic. But whatever it causes, it's when the cell has a genetic mutation occurs, and it causes the cell to ignore the fail-safes and safeguards that prevent it from dividing and growing uncontrollably. And when that happens, of course, we get cancer, we get tumors, and we get things that the body can't control. Now let's get into a little bit of what exactly is colon cancer, what makes it specific. Colon cancer is specifically defined as a cancer that starts in the rectum or colon. Colon cancer mostly starts out as a colon polyp in the inner lining of the colon or rectum. Now, polyp is described as a small growth that occurs in the colon, and over time can possibly develop into cancer and become malignant and spread throughout the body. And the one thing about the digestive system, it's very long and it's rather large, and it goes throughout the whole, almost throughout the whole body, the inner body. So when there's a cancer there, it can easily spread throughout the whole body. Now, the two types of colon polyps are adenomatous polyps, and these polyps have a 95% chance of mostly being the cancer that is colon cancer. They are commonly referred to as the cells that help lubricate and secrete mucus into the colon. Hyperplastic or inflammatory polyps are more common, but in general they're usually not precancerous. Now, when it comes to adenomatous polyps, they are specifically considered precancerous because within several years they normally turn into cancer cells and can easily spread. Now, what happens when these polyps turn cancerous? They begin to grow uncontrollably, and they'll grow into the wall of the colon. And of course, the colon's got a lot of blood vessels because the colon specifically takes all the waste and all the different salts and stuff and puts it back into your body so you're not wasting it. So there's a lot of blood vessels that go throughout the colon. And so when you've got a cancer there and it's undetected and it spreads and it goes malignant, again, it can easily spread throughout the whole body very quickly. So that's the reason colon cancer can be very deadly if not prevented and found quick enough. Now, let's start getting into most of the risk factors. One of the main risk factors, of course, is obesity. Obesity definitely plays a major role in many cancers, but colon cancer is definitely one of them. We see it both in men and women. It tends to men play a little bit higher significant risk factor. We'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, then we'll mostly go into physical activity. The link between physical activity shows that people who are less active tend to have a higher chance of getting colon cancer and, of course, have a higher chance of being obese. So, we'll go into the diet. Diet plays another major role in colon cancer. People who don't eat right And that includes, not having very many fruits and vegetables in your diet. Again, eating too much leads to obesity, and of course that's another risk factor. People who eat a lot of high red meats, and that red meats includes pork, beef, lamb, a lot of processed meats show an increased risk of colon cancer. While people that eat, real healthy fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, they show a lower risk of colon cancer. Again, that probably has to do with they're probably more physically active. They're eating right. They're probably they're not obese or have problems with obesity because they are eating right and they're not eating too much. We'll go into more risk factors such as smoking. We all know that smoking is a carcinogen. There's many chemicals in smoking and cigarettes or cigars that have been known to cause cancer. There's chemicals like arsenic that are in cigarette smokes that again are very carcinogenic. So, in general, smoking we see across the board increases your cancer risk in general. Now we can also get into alcohol. Alcohol again is another one where if you drink too much, you're generally going to be not very healthy, and it's definitely a carcinogen. People who drink more than 2 drinks a day are at a significantly higher risk of getting colon cancer and cancers in general. And we can just go to age. The older you are, the higher your chances of getting cancer. My dad recently turned 50, and with it being in the month of March, he recently got a colonoscopy. Doctors recommend that as soon as you turn 50, you should definitely get a colonoscopy. And again, the older you are, the more your cells have replicated, the more chances of the replication that you're going to get a mistake in your replication or a mutation in your replication. So, the more your cells replicate, the higher the chances of getting a cancer. Of course, of receiving colon cancer. And in general, we can get into genetics. Genetics also play another major role in colon cancer, or in cancers in general. If you have a family history of cancer, especially colon cancer, you probably should need to get screened whenever you can. And we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. Here we've got some of the demographics behind colon cancers in females. Females, the African American female is around 50 out of 100,000. In 1990 was around 55%. And then from there we look at the Caucasian female was around 49%. And then from there around 40% is the Hispanic community. Now we can compare that to that of the demographics in men. As we can see, compared to women, men have a higher chance of receiving colon cancer. In 1999, African American men were running around 72% of having colon cancer. Now we see there's a steady decline in the graph from 2013, which is a good sign. But we wonder why we have such a higher significant rate in men. Again, that could be maybe genetics, or maybe that could play into environment issues. Maybe men have significantly different occupations compared to women. Or maybe men are just eating different in general. We'll look at Caucasian men were around 68%, while Caucasian female were around 48%. So that's a rather large drop. It's around 20%. So there's definitely a huge difference in between these two. Now I want to talk specifically about the African American community because, as we saw in the graphs, they were at a significantly higher chance of having colon cancer. Now there's been several studies done and found that African American patients were more likely to be diagnosed after their cancer had spread beyond the colon. So that's a very specific study, and we see that, again, they were 50% less chance of getting a colonoscopy compared to other Americans. And again, there are many factors behind that, maybe social economic status, or maybe just environmental issues. But prevention-wise, we really need to look into that and figure out why is that. Now, a good thing about colon cancer is very preventable if treated early. Preventive screenings like colonoscopy will do wonders in preventing colon cancer. Doctors recommend anyone over 50 should definitely be screened. And again, if you've seen in March is definitely has been the colon cancer preventive month. You probably have seen billboards, you probably have seen maybe commercials, maybe you've even had your doctor tell you. So, in the month of March, if you're over 50, try to convince anyone to go get screened for a colonoscopy, because it's rather to be safe than sorry. And here's some of my reference pages. Those graphs came from the CDC. They weren't my own.